Good afternoon. I'm Frosty Beverley, and I'm the fill-in host, and we're doing our latest podcast featuring our two newest Hall of Fame members and our newest BOTY member. So let's get started by talking with our first newest Hall of Fame member. That would be Steve McCullough. Steve, first question for you is, what got you interested in barbershopping? How did you get into this crazy thing?
That was actually all the way back in high school, back in 1980 something. Way back when. And I was doing theater, and I was doing chorus performances, and someone from the barbershop organization had saw one of my performances and said, "You need to be singing with us." And I did sing with them for a while. I actually started my own quartet, which was called the South Decatur High School Barbershop Quartet. We weren't much for originality back then, and it was pretty old school stuff. I did barbershop for a while back then. Went off to college, and there were new shiny things that I wanted to go do. I did community theater for almost 25 years. And I had stopped doing barbershop because old school barbershop was kind of hard on my throat the way we were singing back then. And once I got into the community theater, and I learned how to do a lot of expressive singing on the stage, that's what I was looking for. And then one day I saw a video of Max Q, and I realized barbershop has changed. It was more akin to what I'm used to with conversational singing, and that got me interested to come back to barbershop. I'd finished my master's degree, looking for something to do, and once I came back to barbershop, I was hooked. I really enjoy it, I love the opportunity to try and bring that creative side, that performance side, to the chorus, and help out with anything I can do in those regards.
Great. Let's go next to our latest Barbershopper of the Year for 2022. Somebody kind of near and dear to my heart. That would be Dr. Katie Beverley. And I will ask her what got her into barbershopping, but I think I know the answer. So go ahead and you can.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Katie Beverley, and as he said, I'm very close to him, and I've been involved in barbershopping my whole life. Up until recently, women could not be officially members of the Barbershop Harmony Society, but I never let that get in my way of the involvement with the chapter or with the chorus, and I am super excited about the opportunities that Everyone in Harmony has brought to the Greater Indianapolis chapter. More specifically, I recently became involved in more of the administrative aspects of the chorus. These include serving on the board and working with our fundraising efforts, as well as working on curating this podcast program. And I look forward to continuing to promote this show and to expand upon the wonderful things that are happening in the Greater Indianapolis chapter and how everyone can support those efforts. So basically, you could say I got involved in barbershopping because my family was in barbershopping, but I've continued to grow that and shape barbershop to make it my own and make it fit my strengths and talents post-graduate school.
Okay, our third guest is our second newest Hall of Fame member from just a couple weeks ago, and that would be Lou Gillespie. And Lou, how did you get started in barbershopping? What got you going?
When I was a freshman in high school, we had a men's chorus, and every day for 5 days a week from 8 o'clock to 8:50 in the morning, we would sing barbershop music because that's what our director enjoyed the most. So I sang barbershop music for 4 years in high school. And then in 1975, I was sitting downtown in Muncie in the courthouse. I was called for jury duty, and the guy sitting beside me said, "Do you like to sing?" I said, yes, I've been singing all my life. He said, "Well, we have a Muncie barbershop chorus here. So in 1975, I joined the Muncie Magic City Music Men and sang in that chorus for 4 years, and then eventually it closed. And then I went to Union City, Indiana, which is about 20 miles east of Muncie, Indiana, on the Indiana-Ohio border, and sang with the Union City Chorus for 3 or 4 years. And then eventually in 1982, I joined the Indianapolis Barbershop Chorus, and I've been a member of that chorus since 1982. And I have participated in several international contests and probably 50, at least, district contests over the years that I've been a member.
Great. Okay, let's go to question number 2. And question number 2, we're going to go back to Steve McCullough for this one. Steve, on that special evening a couple weeks ago, when you were named to the Hall of Fame, just for fun, give me what your first reaction was. When you realized that they were reading the script and they'd gotten to who it was, what was your first reaction?
I'm not old enough to get any kind of an award like that. I thought, I'm used to seeing guys get it that they've been doing barbershop their whole life, and me, it hasn't been my whole life, but it has been my passion, and so it was surprising to me because whatever Theo or any of the chorus members needed done, I would do it. And I thought nobody even realized that I was doing things. So the fact that I was being recognized was pretty much a surprise for me because I've always been a working behind the scenes person within the chorus and in the district, and from time to time I get pulled out front to do things, and it surprises me because behind the curtain is where I live, and so I was very surprised. I was speechless, which is kind of unusual for me.
Okay,
Next.
Katie, what was your reaction when it got to the point where in the script where you realized that it was you that was getting named as the Barbershop of the Year?
Well, it was pretty early in the reading of the script that I figured out that I was going to be the BOTY. I kind of, now that I think back on it, there are moments in conversations that I had with fellow board members that made it pretty clear that I was highly likely to be the BOTY. So I would say I was somewhat surprised, but also not a total surprise. Definitely looking back on it. One thing that makes my BOTY special is that I'm the first woman to ever be BOTY in the Greater Indianapolis chapter, and we've been having a BOTY award since it was given out in spring of 1972 for the 1971 BOTY. That would be Gene Newcomb. So the list now runs for BOTY from Gene Newcomb to Katie Beverley, and that's pretty special to be the first woman to be BOTY. So I was really honored in that way. As they talked about in the previous question, I've been going to BOTY and Hall of Fame celebrations for many, many years, and honestly, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think it would be me. And a few years ago, when we were talking about me joining the chapter and then eventually the board, fellow BOTY and Hall of Fame member Jerry Troxel said, "Well, Katie, you might be BOTY someday." And I'm like, "Excuse me, you're crazy, but okay, if you really think so, I guess this can be a new goal." So I was really honored to be the first woman BOTY, and honored that the work that I have been doing really these past couple years were honored in such a special way. Another thing, I mentioned that our BOTY goes back to 1972, celebrating the 1971 BOTY. And if we look at the trophy, my name falls directly under Mr. Harry Rimke. And Mr. Harry Rimke is a very, very special person to our chapter and a special person to our family. And so I'm honored that my name falls on that trophy directly under Harry and on the same line as Jerry. So I'm honored to be the first woman to join all those great men who came before me and whose faces and names we remember each year.
All right, Lou, it's your turn to tell us, what was the reaction on that night? We saw it, but some of us who were there, but others that are listening to this and watching this did not see it. So what was your reaction on that evening?
Well, the first reaction was when they started reading the biography, and then they mentioned Muncie, Indiana. And I thought, oh my goodness, that must be me, since I'm the only one from Muncie, Indiana in the chorus. And eventually then I was up on the stage, and they were, Derek, our president, was showing me some of the awards I had won. And then somebody said, why don't you look over there on the left? And I looked over there on the left, and there were 17 people from my family and friends who had come to participate in this Hall of Fame award that I was getting, little knowing that I didn't know this at all, and they had known this since January, and this was March 4th. So I was completely shocked, and it was just, I mean, something I thought I would never expected to get anything like this, to be in the Hall of Fame. I've been a normal barbershopper, although I was the bulletin editor for the Indianapolis chorus from 1991 to 1995 for 4 years, and I've worked in a lot of international contests that the chorus presented when we had international contests at Indianapolis. So I was just, the whole evening I was in a shock stage. I just was I didn't know what was going on. It was just unreal, especially with all my friends and families. And I was sorry that my wife couldn't be there since she had passed away 3 years ago, but she would have really have enjoyed this honor for me too.
You know, one thing I think also made it special was the fact that Marty Munson came up to give us our awards.
Yeah, I think I also agree with that. I kind of forgot to say that. Having Marty Munson there,
The
to
CEO
the
of
CEO
BHS.
of BHS, to celebrate my BOTY was pretty cool, and just to be honored along these two guys in such amazing ways by our peers is just really, really cool.
Yes, I think it's very, very good that, very important that Lou mentioned that, because I will say that his wife was a very integral part of his barbershop career, and still, will always be remembered, because she always traveled with him to all the conventions and all the dinners and all that stuff. So that's very important. Our third question is, what do you see as, where are we in Circle City Sound going, in your opinion? What's our next goal or next step going to be? Let's start with Steve.
Oh, geez, for the whole chorus. Well, we are going to internationals, and I'm big on the presentation side, the performance side, and I like to see the guys be animated. For me, it's comedy is what I do. Our pieces are not comedy that we're performing, but that's I like to see the guys get really involved in the music, and I've got a quartet now, and we do comedy, and I like to see that, and I hope that kind of catches on, that spirit of really enjoying the performance side of things.
Okay, Katie, what about you?
Yeah, so I see things kind of differently from Steve. I'm more on the administrative side, so I really have two administrative goals that I would like to see the chapter reach over the next couple of years. The first is I, in my role as fundraising VP, would like to see us have more standardized fundraising policies and plans that are really, really super sustainable so that we can reach our long-term chapter level goals. Because if we have the financial stability that I believe that the current fundraising plans we're developing can bring us, then we will be able to reach our connect, inspire, and sing goals that we have as a chapter. A second administrative goal I have is I'd really like to see us grow in our community engagement and how we're reaching out to and connecting with our communities and how we are going to create a greater singing community in Indianapolis. I also love International. It's my favorite barbershop week of the year, hands down. So seeing us achieve higher successes in our international competition is really a high goal that I have. And achieving those goals kind of harken back to 2013. I was literally over the moon when we were 7th in the world with our Pinocchio set that Steve created for us. And I distinctly remember a friend of the chorus, Gail Belden, dancing around a bar in Toronto, and people thought she'd had a few too many, when really she was just that excited that we were 2 places out of the medals. So I'd really like to have some experiences like that again at International.
And we did turn a doll into a real boy in front of 10,000 people.
We did do that.
Yes, we did. Lou.
That was fun. Good.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
Go ahead.
interrupt
No,
you, Steve.
sorry.
I have 2 goals of mine for the chorus, and one of these, I agree with what Steve indicated. We need to put more presentation in our performances like we used to do when we would enter a international or a district contest, rather than just get up there and sing. I think that a presentation or a show package actually helps to increase our ability to sing better and to know that we have a goal in mind with a presentation package. The second goal I'd like to see is to bring back the monthly newsletter that we used to have in the chapter, and that way we could provide biographies for the new members that we're getting in the chapter, which we used to have in the monthly newsletter, which would tell us, each member, about the new member who's joined the chapter and a little bit about their history of singing and their family and so forth. So this is a second goal and that I'd like to see in the chapter.
All right, so thank you, Lou and Steve. Again, it's an honor for me to sit amongst you as our highest awardees here today. A few notes I'd like to add as we wrap this up is that we would invite any and all people who love to sing or want to engage with us in our community to come to any rehearsal we have on Monday nights. Be sure to reach out to us on social media. We are always looking for new members.
My wife just joined. She's over there.
Awesome.
Yes. So, yes.
And if you're interested in contributing to the work of our chapter, which leads to wonderful honors like this and many other outreach in the community, then feel free to use the fundraiser link in the description, and we would love it if you would support our efforts. And with that, we thank you for watching our episode and hope you have a wonderful day.